All right, we are going live here with Leroy Wolfgramm
Yeah, man.
with the Jets, and
Yeah.
we're just gonna um, talk sports, music, the whole connection, all
Yeah.
of that. So it'll be really good.
Thank you. Yeah, for
So
having me.
welcome, Leroy. Welcome to the channel. Uh, I just wanted to do something different. Wanted to talk more about how music influences some of the thought process of the sports guys, and I grew up listening to your music and your
Thank you.
family. So um, let's go ahead and just tell everybody uh, who you are and where you grew up and everything like that.
Sure. Okay. Well, my name is Leroy Wolfgramm. Thanks, Mafi, for having you on your podcast. So I was born in Tonga, and my parents are first immigrant generation. They moved here when I was 3 months old. We settled in the Salt Lake, Utah area, and so that's kind of how I got here. And my dad was huge. He's a weightlifter, and back in the islands in the '60s in Tonga, there was no gyms out there, and so he basically made his own weights and barbells out of cement. We got a lot of old pictures of him back in Tonga, man, and just lifting weights, and a lot of the neighbors coming over, and the kids coming. But he was just he wanted to. His goal was to be the strongest guy in the world, right? And so, when we came to America, and he discovered, wait, there's gyms out here in the U.S., and so he joined a couple of the local, gyms out there, and he started competing, bodybuilding and weightlifting. And he did it for. I just remember growing up around, weights, and he's always going to the gym and picking them up. And he actually won Mr. Utah back in 1968.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
yeah, it was bodybuilding and powerlifting. That's what he did, and he was just a go-getter. That's something he always wanted. He actually met Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was some competition in California, and he forgot his shorts. And my dad said that he borrowed his shorts for Arnold to wear, but just little things like that. But anyway, yeah, go ahead.
No, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So you're who's Yohani? Is
Okay,
that your
Johanny. Yes, that's my grandfather. That's my
okay?
yeah.
Yeah, because that's who my mom and dad knows Yohani, and they know who your dad was. But
That's
I
right.
guess he moved when he was very young out of the island. So I grew
Yeah.
up in Sacramento, California, when we moved from the island from Halaufuli, Tonga.
Right.
So from Vava'u. So that's where I was born there, and then we came out here to the states. And
Awesome.
so you guys had a wild growing up, right?
We sure
Going from
did.
town to town, and yeah, talk
Yeah.
a little bit about that.
It was amazing. I mean, we kind of settled in Salt Lake for a little bit. We did move to San Francisco, where my brother Heine was born, and we lived in Diego for a while, San Diego, and then Arizona was too hot, so my dad came back to Salt Lake, where we kind of lived here, and that's kind of what happened. And by the time I was like 11, my parents had about 10 kids, and and my dad on the side, he worked as the milk department at Safeway,
Okay,
and yeah, and so on top of lifting, that was sort of his job. And we grew up in the Rose Park area, right there, and when the houses just start coming up, my parents found a house out there, and we kind
that's
of
when
grew
it
up.
was nice, huh? Back when
Yeah,
it
I
was
guess.
nice, West Valley. It was nice area
Yep.
then.
Yeah, pretty nice. Bunch of weeds out there, but it was really good growing up. And as our family kept growing, my dad kind of started a yard work business. So we did yate. We just,
Yep.
every Saturday, 6 in the morning, bro. We were like woken up. Hey, time to go. We do like 15 to 20 houses. Cut lawns, weeding, whatever it was, and it was hard. Especially in the Utah summers. But I think that's where we kind of learned our work ethic from my dad. He was always an entrepreneur. Always he hated the 9 to 5 kind of a thing, right? And so he was watching the Jackson Five and the Osmonds on TV. It was like somewhere in the mid '70s. Wait a minute, if they could do that, a band, he started thinking maybe I should do that. And basically, that's what my dad and mom did. I mean, it was crazy. He went. I just remember coming back from school one day, And, actually before that, we were doing the yard work, and my dad, when he had this idea to do a band, we had like a family home evening. We got together, and he said, "Okay, let's take a family vote. All right, you guys want to keep doing yapta and yard work, or do you guys want to do music?" And of course, man, we said, "Oh, let's do music, man."
A lot lighter, right?
All day long, yeah. And so, I mean, he tried to get us in. I mean, even before that, he took me and the boys to see if we liked boxing. But man, I got knocked out. He's okay. Boxing is not for my kids, man. Try to do the Golden Glove thing, and that didn't quite work. But then, of course, when he said, "Let's, do music," and we all agreed. And then I think it was like a week later, and that's when we came into the house. And we saw guitar. My dad bought a guitar, drum set, bass. He put it in our kitchen area, and like, "Okay, guys, we're gonna start." He wasn't kidding, man. And so that's kind of what happened, man.
So, did you know any music? Did you have any
Yeah.
talents before that, or?
Yeah. Before that, my mom had a luau show. She was a hula dancer, so they had one of the few Polynesian shows that was around there in Salt Lake, and so we would dance, like the little kid stuff and marihaka and all that kind of stuff, but not any music until my dad, brought that stuff. So, okay, man, it's time to switch over and learn music. And we just learned by ear, man. We just got on the radio, and he put me in charge to organize the band. I was only 11 years old at the time. It was 1976. And then, and so I just went in and just used my ear and just taught all my little siblings.
Oh, no, that's really cool. So did you guys do any road shows? Like, so my aunt and my auntie Lineni, they used to do shows all the way down to Florida and up the coast and even into Minnesota. They used to do those shows and stuff like that, and they tried to get us into that, and I was like, "Oh man, that is just too." Summertime, it was fun for the travel, but to do it like constantly, I was like, "Oh man, this is not for me."
No, speaking of what you brought up, we were on that circuit. We went to St. Petersburg, Florida, and then my parents wound up somewhere in the east, but then my dad came back, and then we wound up in Canada. Doing the same thing, of all the things. So that's kind of, definitely did that as well.
So, no, it's crazy because how things happen like this. I have a real quick question for one of the audience guys. David Corona, he's asking if you still do music. I know that you do, but you can talk about that.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, since the Jets came out back in the 80s, we've never stopped. You know what I mean? And the way we got our deal is that we wound up in Minnesota. That's where we ended up back when I was just a senior. And that's kind of how we got discovered. Prince blew up with his movie Purple Rain. We happened to be at the right place at the right time. So, So yes, we actually have an award-winning show here called the Jets 80s 90s Experience here at the Planet Hollywood. And we've been here for 3 years. So the answer is, yep, we are definitely still doing music.
So what would you say to the guys that are in sports, but their passion is for music? How can they keeping it transition? Not a transition, but keeping it the same, right? And still working on their music, because there's a lot of talented players in all of sports that are interested in doing music, but they just can't find that way to get there. What do you say to guys to people who are trying to get into the music? Because I know it's a tough industry. It's really tough. So what do you say to guys about that? Or do you have an avenue that you can help guys? They can reach out to you or contacts like that, because it took a while for you guys to get those contacts, right?
Yeah, it did. I mean, all I can tell you, the music industry and the model that it operated is so freaking different than it was in 85 in the mid 80s. Actually, now it's like the best time, especially of you sport people. And I know a lot of guys that are football players and basketball players. They love us Polynesians. We just love music, and it never in the history of the world is it the best time to actually release and express yourself musically. I mean, you've got SoundCloud, you got YouTube, you've got all the social media aspects that I wish was around, when we were doing music. And that was just I guess I could say go that route because you know it's amazing. I wish we had those tools, but you can actually get an audience, write your own songs, and of course you still have the record labels and the big industry people there. And, a lot of them are just, they go and shop on YouTube. So if you put like, YouTube video of you singing your song or whatever, or TikTok, that's where record labels go now these days. They go there to shop for talent. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of like people make it big on their Instagram or TikTok and
it's it, man.
Spotify. They sell like that because I have a nephew that does a lot of recordings now, and he's selling a lot of his beats.
Right. I mean,
A
exactly.
lot of guys, right?
Like one example is my younger brothers and sisters. My nephews and nieces. It's Heine, my brother next to me. He has 14 kids, and just because they shared a TikTok thing, it went viral. 50 million. They were on the Tamron Hall show last week in New York, and so again, that's power of getting your music now. If you happen to be in sports, you can do it, man.
No, it's awesome because a lot of people, they don't know how to find their way into the music industry, and it's just like sports. You just got to know the connections, got to really work hard. And I know with when you guys had to travel and dance and everything, how was it for you guys working out to keep in shape to do these performances?
We always, because my dad was a weightlifter, every city we were, he'd always be at the gym. So we'd kind of tag along with them and just, work out and stuff like that. But, one mindset that I think sport people can relate to, it's something that my dad always taught us, don't do anything half baked, right? Like, so when we would play the clubs, there would be like 3 people there, or sometimes, or it'd be like one guy in the bar, right? And my dad would say, I don't care if there's 3 people there or if the room is full. You play that room and hit that stage and move your butt around like there's a stadium full of people. And nice. I think that attitude is what helped us, to do our craft. I think it's the same thing with sports. You gotta operate 100%, versus just half baked.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at all the great ones that are right. in sports, that are in music, it doesn't matter what profession you are in. You're always trying to get better at your craft, right?
Amen, man. So, amen.
So I have it's my sister, Loleni.
Yeah.
She has a question.
Sure.
What would be your advice in having a manager to manage? Her kids they sing pretty good. But what would your advice be on?
Yeah, I mean, manager's great. I mean, that's how we got discovered. It was a guy named Don Powell. I mean, we had, like I said, we worked at a hotel chain that went from Iowa to Minneapolis to North Dakota. And we were there for like 3 years. So we would rotate every city every 3 months. And right around 1983, the whole hotel chain went bankrupt. And so we were like sitting there, freezing, 60 below in Minneapolis. And, okay, what do we do now, Dad? And all I knew is that he did a quick pivot. And he said, okay, now no more Polynesian stuff. We're now going to do top 40. And it was crazy. Yeah. So we switched all our music and we entered the club scene in Minnesota. And so we did that for a while. I mean, a lot of people don't realize it took us 7 years before we got our deal. You know what I mean? It was not an overnight situation. And so, at least I can, share that. It was a lot of pain, a lot of traveling, Canada, back, Midwest, just doing all these things and then going through this failure. And then, but anyway, we were planning to either go to New York or Hollywood. And then my dad just had this gut feeling, no, let's stay right here in Minneapolis. I don't know why I'm feeling the spirit to stay here. But so we did. And not more than while we were playing the clubs, our agent knew of Don Powell. And he managed Stevie Wonder, managed the Jackson 5, a lot of the Marvelettes, a lot of the Motown people. He actually discovered David Bowie. So anyway, he happened to live like a few miles from the club we were playing. The agent brought him out. He saw the show. He loved it, man. And you know, after a little while of getting to know him, we signed a management agreement with him. And then, you know, he, of course, went to New York and tried to shop us. We were actually turned down. Every label in New York said, no, they're like a poor version of Menudo, right? And then he went to L.A., same thing. No one wanted us there. And then the next thing you knew, there was just one vice president, Gerald Busby of MCA Records. The demo fell in his desk, and he took a look at this. Interesting. Anyway, he looked at it, listened, and we happened to do a show in Reno at the Gold Nugget, and he came out and flew out and saw us. And dude, the rest is history. He signed us up to a $3 million, 7-album, 7-year record deal with Universal MCA. It was, I mean, that was a big deal back then, but that's what happened. So, you know, yeah, managers are important, but get the right one. Don't get the wrong one, man.
Well, yeah, you got to really look for the right one. But here's just going back to when I was a kid. I was in the 6th grade. We were in my dad's car, and it's FM 102 in Sacramento. So those of you that are in Sacramento, FM 102, there's a song that just came up, Curiosity, that started blaring on the speaker, right? Yep. And I'm like, oh. Then they said this is the a new Tongan reggae. He kind of said like a reggae type band from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and we're like, what? And it was on FM 102, so it was pretty cool when I heard that, and I was like, oh man, the Tongans are getting out there. They're really getting out there, and I was like, Minnesota. How did they get to Minnesota? It's like a couple of years I was in New York, and I thought there was no Tongans in New York.
Yeah,
there was a group there. They had a group there. They had a reunion type style for the Eastern Coast. So people from Boston all the way down to Florida, they would gather in certain places, either in Philadelphia or in New York, or in Washington D.C. and then Florida. So I was like, man, there's Tongans everywhere. It's just crazy. So, but that was like the coolest thing is like listening to you guys' music. Now I gotta share this with you. Back in 1986, I was living with my cousin in Provo, where actually we were in Orem, Utah, and Hola and Moana, your sister, they came pulled up, and they were in a big black. It's one of those mob rides.
Yeah,
and Moana said it's your dad's car.
Yeah. Oh man.
It was a big sucker. I was like, man, we all fit in there. All of us that was. We
wow.
We used to ride in that thing. So, because Elias played with Markey at BYU. So
that's right. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so we stayed with Elias. All of us that came from Sacramento. So we stayed with him.
Oh man.
And then Hola, of course, she lived in Sacramento, and she sang a couple of times with you guys.
Yeah, she actually toured with us up. We did a big contract in what's that called? Taiwan, and we spent I think like a few months out there. So I really got to know my sister Hola.
Yeah, and she's out there in Vegas too, right?
Yeah, she's right here. Yeah, not too far from here. That's great.
So we have a couple questions. David Corona. He asked, what instrument did you play, or what instruments do you play?
I'm actually the lead guitarist, and I'm the band leader, and I can play all the instruments: bass, guitar, drums, keyboards, but that's pretty much it. Yeah, I play a little trumpet. Other than that,
I played a little trumpet before, and I was awful. Yeah. And then I played the trombone, so that way I can hit the trumpet players when I go.
There you go.
That 7th position. But that was all in junior high. No instrument from there.
Marching band, yeah.
And then I have one from Shonen Mac. He says Chippendale Rescue Rangers theme song.
Oh, get out of here!
Awesome.
Yeah, I was. It was a debate between either me and my other brother, and they said, "No, Roy, you're going to sing that song." Yeah, that was an honor to do that, be part of that cartoon. Yeah.
No, so you grew up. Did you play any sports at all?
Man, I did a little volleyball, got into football, and smashed my eye. I still have the the
Oh,
stitches, and literally, my dad said, "Why don't you just stay in there and just concentrate on music?" But I love football and basketball, but didn't really quite get into it because I got more into the music aspect of it. But that was my, and then I did a little boxing too, and then like I said, I got knocked out by this Tongan Golden Glove kid, and I was like, "Yeah, enough of that, man."
who was that you boxed?
I can't remember, but it was in Rose Park. It was the Rose Park ring there by Ninth South, I think. But I just remember it. I don't even know if that place is there, but it was the Golden Glove ring. And my dad took me and my brothers to see if we can, learn how to fight. It wasn't in me, man. Yeah.
Hey, that's another sport for other
Oh,
people. I
I'm
mean, I can
telling
go
you.
to the buffet and I can outbox anybody at the buffet,
Oh, good, man. Yeah. Yep.
maybe. um, so you grew up. Actually, we got another comment from David Corona.
Yeah, yeah.
How many people in the group? So you can say how many people is in your family. You're the
Sure. So I'm the oldest of 17 kids. So my parents had we have 10. I have 10 sisters and 6 brothers. The band was made up of the 8 oldest. That's what the Jets was made up of. And then all the other kids they're also doing music, but that's how many is in the band and in the family. And that's what it consisted of.
okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember every all your siblings' birthdays? Do you remember those?
Not the birthdays, but I kind of struggled.
That
It
is a
was a lot of
lot.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's a lot, and I think that's what my dad wanted to do the music because he got to find a way to feed all of us, right?
Oh
So,
man.
yeah.
Yeah. 17, man. That's
But we primarily grew up there in the Rose Park area. A lot of memories in Rose Park, man. That's where we all went to high school. But that was the last place we grew up. Started the band there, right there on 1848 West 400 North. House is still there, and yeah, and then we eventually, like I said, Canada there, and then we wound up in Minnesota for a while, and then stayed there. My sister actually got married to a Viking. I don't know if you remember Al Noga, number 99, tight end for the
yep.
Vikings. Yeah,
I remember Al
and so
Noga.
yep,
Yeah, the Samoan guy.
yeah, really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
we got a chance to go, watch some of the Viking practices and just getting a lot of being able to watch the games right there at the Metrodome. So those were awesome times. So.
So who's your favorite player in the NFL or your all-time favorite?
Man, I would say who's the guy? Herschel Walker. I know I'm old school. Vaishik
Hey,
Kahimwa. You know what I mean? These guys are. I'm 57, so I'm a little on the older
well,
side.
Mai's a
But
boxer too, so
that's right. Yeah. So I look up to them, man, and of course, MJ, Michael Jordan, big fan of his, and yeah, that's kind of what I love. Big Mike Tyson boxing fan. So he
yeah.
actually came out to one of our shows, and but because the audience started clamping on him, they took it. He only watched like the first song, and then he went out. But our manager was saying he was saying, "Hey, good luck and break a leg." But,
Oh, that's cool. Mike Tyson. That was my favorite
yeah.
boxer.
Oh yeah.
So, are you still a Vikings fan?
I am. I have to say I am even though I'm here, a lot of my family kind of switched over to the
Don't
Las
say it.
Vegas. Yeah,
No, no,
but
not
I'm a
the
Viking.
Raiders.
I'm a Viking, so in and out, man. I guess it's stuck with me all the.
You gotta tell your family to go with this team back here.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. A lot of my cousins they love the Niners, man. That's it. That's it.
Yep. So I got another question here from Polyworld Entertainment. Do
Mhm.
you keep up with the Polynesian music scene now? And if so, who do you listen to?
Yeah, I actually do. I listen to a lot of Youngie stuff, and I follow a lot of I love a lot of the new stuff. I'm not really familiar with the newer stuff, but yeah, I mean, I'm huge Common Kings,
Oh
what's his
yeah.
face to say, all the Polynesian. I'm so proud that they've actually carved out their own niche, you know what I mean, in the music. And that's another great thing with these upcoming, sports guys that want to get into music. There's a whole, I mean, if you like the Polynesian genre, I mean, it's huge, you have Fiji and all the other artists that are out there. And very, very good stuff, man.
Let me see. Let me see. You know what? How about I ask Polyworld, what's your favorite? We'll
Yeah.
ask him that question. And then another one from David Corona. How do people, if they rap or making music, how can they make money?
That's a good challenge. I mean, as you know, everything with the internet and with YouTube, it just the monetizing aspect has been the biggest struggle. As you know, when the MP3 movement hit, I mean, it literally put so many artists out of business. You know what I mean? And so, in terms of that, it's just the way you market yourself. You know what I mean? I mean, there's still money to be made, especially now. What has been the I guess you could say that what's redeemed our industry is Spotify and streaming services. If it wasn't for that, I don't know how people as artists like myself and those that want to get into music would survive. It's horrible, but thank goodness for Spotify, man.
Yeah, I was trying to look up here some of the um, artists, guys. So there's this one called Konax. They're a
Oh,
Tongan song that they sing.
okay.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, I really love it. I even hearing some of the rap stuff from Tongans.
oh
I
yeah,
love it. I was like, whoa, this is pretty smooth, man. And so, no, I'm loving when Mate Tonga came out, there were so many different bands and groups, and I was just loving all the music that was coming from Tonga or wherever, Samoa and Hawaii. And great stuff. That Jamaican, Hawaiian, I think they call it.
Joanne
Yeah.
song. Yep.
Yep.
It's you know what's crazy is like um when the World Cup was happening in 2017,
Yeah.
and Mate Matonga was like in rugby league.
Right.
It's crazy. The whole stadium is singing
Oh
the
my
Tongan
gosh.
songs. I'm like,
Woo.
man, what it'd be like to be there and everybody sings the Tongan songs that come out, right?
Yeah.
Um,
I love it. Yeah, it's just I'm really proud, that our nation being such a small, nation in the world, and making these kind of impacts it's beautiful to see, and I'm proud, I'm humble, and see all that.
yeah, it's amazing the talent that comes from just a small little island. There's a speck in the middle of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
got another question here from David Corona. This
Sure.
is my guy. Sometimes he hops on live with
Oh,
me.
no problem. Yeah, ask
So,
away, man. Ask away.
um, is it by the albums you guys make, or you guys make more money? I don't know how to phrase this one for you,
No,
David. But
we,
go
we,
ahead.
yeah, our living is mostly on on our touring aspect. That's really where artists make their money. Even today, I mean, the record stuff we didn't really make that much. We still get royalties actually, but not like huge because we never wrote any of our hits. Our manager had other writers. That's kind of a typical model in Hollywood and records. You'll get the top producers like Jimmy Jam or Terry Lewis or whoever's hot at the moment. Nowadays it's crazy because the people that rule the music people in the world now, it's DJs. It's crazy. I
Yeah,
never would think that DJs would, be the top guys, and they are. And it's fun. It's great.
yeah,
Beautiful.
it's crazy because um you think like, especially when I grew up, everybody thought that the musicians were the ones making all the artists making all the money, and then you get together with other people and they start talking. Oh no, it's the label, it's the promoters.
There you go. Yeah.
They're making the money, and then the cut is a small part. But that's what
Yeah.
I like about today's
Yeah.
um because we have the internet. Back
Right.
then, the internet wasn't around, and then you have all these different avenues that you can put everything out there, and everybody will, um, and everybody can see your stuff, your music,
Sure.
and everything, and most of the revenue will come back to you guys.
Exactly. It's direct to customer, and unless you're Prince and you're Stevie Wonder and you wrote every freaking song in their album, then you're making money. You know what I mean? But you're right. It's a interesting change of models. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So how was it? So did you guys ever work with Prince, or talk
We
about some of those guys that you guys
Yeah,
worked with?
yeah, we actually he would, like, we did a couple of shows, like we warmed up for a group called The Time. He came on the side of the stage watching us. He really liked our family. He liked that, how, these kids can play. And he actually, when Heine was recording, we were doing our third album. We actually did the whole album at Paisley Park. It was the third album, MCA record called Believe. And he actually popped into the studio. He was in his little high heels, kind of tapping his foot, looking at Heine. And he had a song he had written. So he wanted to give one to our manager. He approached us, and we heard it. The only problem is that the song was a little it was just a little risque, right, for our situation. I think it was called Twinkers or something, but it was just a little bit on the on the adult side. But
Oh boy.
we politely had to not
Decline
do
from
it.
it.
But he was cool with it. He was cool with it. He understood.
Yeah, Prince, man.
Yeah.
I remember those the Purple Rain movie
Yeah,
that came out and
exactly.
everything. And he was a big thing back then
He was, yeah,
when I was younger.
superstar.
So we got another question here from
Yep.
Polyworld Entertainment.
Mhm.
Any advice on the best way to get a independent artist music on film and TV show?
Like I said, because using the TikTok example of my siblings, my nephews and nieces, by just putting content out there, especially TikTok. I mean, I've never seen such an amazing thing where you can scale so quickly, and that does lead to, because that's where the labels are looking. They're on YouTube, they're on TikTok, and so if anything, the attention is to concentrate your efforts, kind of like in those areas. That's just my 2 cents, but that's where I see where you can get connections, especially with movies and stuff like that. Create little short 3-minute little movies, or little stuff that you can put your music on and go, that it's like your demo, right? And then see if it goes viral on TikTok and all these other avenues. That's one way. I'm not an expert, but that's one way.
TikTok is crazy because it
It
goes
is.
wild, and it's like millions and millions of people that
Yes.
all of a sudden they can just blow up.
Yeah.
Um,
Just be creative. That's all. Just be
yeah.
creative. Yeah.
So there you go. There's your answer, Polyworld. Good question. Um, okay, so I heard when you were on with Coach V,
Yeah.
you you did a show with LL Cool J.
Yeah, we did. Uh, it was an amazing. It was our first time in New York. We were booked at the Apollo Theater. The one right there in Harlem,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was amazing. It was us, LL Cool J, and his song. What's that called? Rock the Bell. I mean, that was like blowing up everywhere, and yeah, it was fun. That was a fun show. He actually came and saw our show and took some pictures, and just a nice guy. He's a little shy, but back then, man, it was an awesome gig. Especially that was one of our first gigs in New York City. We'd never been there before. Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy because he's from Jamaica, Queens, and
Yeah.
so I served my mission out there. That's how I know
Nice.
all
Oh.
this stuff. And one day we were on a split. I mean, we were on a teaching with one of the sisters in Jamaica, Queens.
Yeah.
She's
Oh.
like, "Hey, I gotta stop by over here real quick." So she goes, knock on the door, talk to the old lady, and then the old lady said, "Oh, introduce your friends to us." And so we introduce ourselves as missionaries and everything. And she's like, "Oh yeah," and she's like, I am LL Cool J's grandma. This is his
Oh
house.
my gosh! Woo.
I was like, what? LL Cool J's house? That was
Oh
pretty cool. That
man,
was, yeah.
that is awesome. Yeah.
It was pretty cool because it wasn't too far from where we lived in our apartment down there,
Ah.
but it was in Jamaica, Queens, and we're like, hey,
Do
I
you
think
spill?
we,
Yeah.
we
Do
met
you speak?
LL Cool J's grandma.
Oh my
That
gosh.
was pretty cool.
Do you
But
speak the like Jamaican patois, that
no. So this is
slang, or
in New
just
York.
English? Okay, New York. Okay,
It's
okay.
New York. Oh, but
Gotcha.
there's a lot of
Yeah,
Jamaicans out there. A lot.
yeah.
It's the melting pot of the world. It's like
Sure, sure.
everybody. I mean, all the different kind of foods that you can imagine. They had it over
Yeah,
there. They had all of our foods, poly food, Caribbean food,
yeah.
all of
Dang.
it, man. Oh man, this is making me hungry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So so after when you're when which one of is what is your favorite song out of all the albums?
Dang, it's I mean, I actually like some of the B sides. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, I like all of them, and but I don't know. Maybe my favorite. I ever liked. I like Rocket to You, because I love the harmonies. That song was actually originally written for Earth, Wind, and Fire,
Okay.
and yeah, and so they had an influx of too many songs, and they passed on it, and then it passed it to us. That song is what got us our Grammy nomination, and it was such an honor to get that, to be nominated. I mean, and it came from that song, which my brother Heine sings.
So
But
who wrote that song? Since it
guy
was
named guy named Bobby Nunn, rest in peace. He's not here with us, I think, and he yeah, did a great job. He wrote it originally for Earth, Wind, and Fire, and then so we're ended up yeah, it was on our second album. So did that a while, and yeah.
another question here from David Corona. How long have you been singing in the band?
I've been singing from day one. I've never stopped. Even though, so we did I started when I was 11. I actually started as a drummer in about 11, that's 76, all the way, it's about 40 something years. And then, we just started this residency here in Las Vegas in 2019. And yeah, I would probably say 47 years, still going strong.
Still going.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna be like Gladys Knight, still singing well into your
Yeah.
your 80s.
No, we'll try to. Yeah, yes.
So, how can we bring you over to the red and gold side?
Oh man, I got respect for you guys though. For the Niners, you guys do good, man.
Because I think our quarterback that's going to be starting this year,
Mhm.
he's a Minnesota kid. I
Really?
think
Oh,
Trey Lance. He's from out there.
okay. Sure. I didn't realize that. Oh, okay.
I'll have to double check, and if anybody can in the comments can let me know. But I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he grew up in Minnesota.
Hmm.
Um,
Midwest
so
guy, huh? Shoot.
he's a young kid.
Oh,
He's
wow.
been hurt a couple of times. He got drafted 3 years ago, and that's who I pick to start this year
Ah,
for the 49ers.
right, right.
He's got a big arm. He's Hafakasi
Really?
kid, so yeah.
Is he Polynesian or just
No.
okay,
He's
half Gus? All right.
Balagi and Uli
Yeah,
Uli.
yeah,
So
gotcha.
um, yeah, so I think he's gonna do pretty good this year. I just have it's a gut feeling, like how you said your dad had a gut feeling to stay in Minnesota. I'm having a gut
Yeah.
feeling that he's gonna do really good this year coming up. So we'll
Yeah, I think
see.
that'd be great. I think the Super Bowl is in Vegas. The next one is here in town. I
It's
think.
coming over there to Vegas,
Yeah,
and guess
yeah,
what, man? We're gonna have to tailgate over there because I
yeah. I
think the
think.
Niners are gonna be in that Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think so. Well, it's funny. We watched the Vikings and the Niners, and I think you guys beat us on that game in the regular season. That was a good game. You know what I mean? Uh,
Yeah, the Vikings did really good this year.
yeah, they did.
And
I think.
yeah, they did really good this year. There's a couple teams that the Niners are gonna be are going to face this year. But it all depends. Like everybody, even the Minnesota Vikings, the Raiders, Cowboys, whoever it may be in the NFL right now, it's going to be a while for them because they have to re-sign everything, and then hopefully they get that right team and get all the chemistry done in the offseason before the season starts.
Exactly.
So that's okay. So I actually got the answer to my question. Yep, he's from Trade Marshall, Minnesota.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he is a Minnesota kid.
Definitely. Midwest, yeah.
So yeah, you got to come over and root for him.
Hey, yeah.
Because I foresee him being in a Super Bowl this coming year. It's going to be in Vegas, and that's only a short 2-hour drive for me. So
yeah. Oh my gosh, I'll have to look out for him, man. I'll definitely pay attention to that. Thank you.
Yeah. So I have a couple more questions here.
Sure. Yep.
David Corona says, tell him 49ers all day, every day.
Respect, brother. Respect.
From Polyworld, do you engineer, mix, and master your own recordings? If so, do you use a PC or a Mac?
I personally am a Mac user, and I actually taught at the Conservatory of Recording Arts and Science Audio School in Gilbert, Arizona for 2 years. And so, yeah, I love that. And love using an SSL boards. But, these days, I mean, the guy that I think it was Billie Eilish, they won Best Record a few years back, and they recorded that whole album on a laptop in their bathroom. So this is where we're at. You know what I mean?
Well, in the bathroom, the acoustic is really nice in there, right?
Yes. I mean, technology is amazing. You can do great records on a laptop, and I'm a big pusher of that. You know what I mean? Utilize it, especially with the plugins and all that's at our disposal right now. It's just freaking crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, and Polyworld said, wow.
That's a fact, man. I mean, yeah, you can go to the big studios, and they're still there, but they're a lot of them went out of business. You know what I mean? But it's just good that you've at least got the options. I mean, I'm old school. I love the two-inch tape, analog. I'm still a huge firm believer of that, and and just having the plugins. But yeah, you'll do good, man.
The sound that comes from a record player is just unique. It's not like I like the sound that comes from the record player. It just reminds me of how music was done back in the days. So, do you like those sounds, or what's your favorite sound?
All day long, vinyl. And it's funny because my kids they didn't know what that was. And what the heck is this? And so anyway, all my kids love vinyl, and they tell me the same thing. Why does this sound so much better? And they got all these little deals. I mean, I came around when the a lot of my kids didn't know what a cassette player was or a vinyl record, and it is good that at least that part has come back, right? I don't know about cassettes, but I do love the sound of vinyl, and it's made a huge comeback. I mean, all the major DJs are using it now, and so good to see that is returning to a whole new generation.
Yeah, it just feels like there's just a unique sound that comes out from a vinyl, especially when the DJs are mixing with them and everything. So it's just a cool sound to me. Yeah. Like right now we have all this digital stuff, but it doesn't have that what you call
beauty of analog.
That's right. It doesn't have that.
The warmth, the warmth of real analog, and not the ones and zeros, right?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you can have all the sounds and everything you want digitally, but this is like mastered.
Yeah, and and that's a common practice these days. Is they'll do everything like on a Pro Tools or Ableton. I'm a huge Ableton and Pro Tools user, and then once they get that into the digital, then they'll throw it back on 2-inch tape. And that's a very common practice to get that warmth that you're talking about, to get that best of digital and best of the analog. And so I'm glad that that's done a lot too,
Yeah, and then so Lolani says if we don't show it to them, they wouldn't know what it is, and that's truly correct.
Yeah, my kids did not, because he actually came and said, "Hey, Dad, I got this new thing that just came out." So, what's new? Look at he pulled out the box. It's new. It just came out. I almost stopped in the ear. Hey, that came out when I was a baby. It's funny, man.
That's
That they
crazy.
explained. Yeah.
So, is there a workings for Polyworld wants to know? Is there a movie on the Jets coming out in the future?
Well, yeah, there have been a lot of things going on. We actually have a PBS special called the Jets. It's a Jets in Las Vegas. So there's actually two Jets out there. There's the brothers, which is me, Heine, and Rudy. We have our 80s, 90s show in Vegas. And then my sisters wanted this. They also tour and as well with Eddie and Kat. And so there's kind of two of us out there, but we totally support each other, and so yeah, that's kind of what's happening. You can catch either both. They were just here in Las Vegas at the 90s R&B Valentines, and we all got together, and it was a really nice experience just hanging out and being together.
Well, maybe we can do this. Make you guys 49ers fans, and then tailgate party at the Super Bowl where you guys do a reunion.
Hey.
A reunion right there, a tailgate reunion. We'll name it that, right?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Have you guys do it? Come on over. Everybody barbecue, have a good time, have the band play.
Bring the ukes, and yeah. That'd be nice, man. Get some lupulu going, man. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Talking about like food and everything. So what's your favorite food that your mom or dad made? The simple ones.
Man, I would have to say the one that wins the prize for me growing up. My aunts made it. My grandpa's made it. My dad. Tall pie, bro. Tall pie. That's it. Love my tall pie, man.
Oh, yeah, with some coconut flakes in it, a whole lot of sugar, some milk, the coconut milk. That's it. Yeah, that's like the best.
And then it kind of transitions when you have leftover to the FICA guy, right?
That's right. Get that coconut.
Yeah, on steroids, man. So
I love man. Yeah, so I started just making some quequecita and stuff like that. So
nice.
We'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, and queque too, man. It's good stuff. Bananas in it.
Yeah, just going back and eat. You know what's crazy is like when I moved out here to Utah, in the St. George area, there's not a whole lot of Polynesian food out here. So, and it's like right when I get around eating Poly food, Tongan food, Samoan food, Fijian food, whatever it is, I'm like, oh man, I miss this so much. So I just probably need to start cooking myself. I'm getting to that age where I just need to cook it for myself. So
exactly, yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, I had to calm down on it because I actually had a double bypass heart surgery about 5 years ago. So I was like, okay, calm down on the grease and all that stuff. But I'm just happy that I'm alive, and I had to change up my diet. It's good.
So, was it clogged arteries? Is that what led to it?
Yeah, it was like I guess in our Wolfgramm side, there's a lot of heart issues. And a lot of my ancestors, they had heart issues, and so I guess I got the DNA, and I have congestive heart failure, and so I mean, literally, my heart's like pumping at like 15%. You know what I mean? But
wow.
I'm still going strong. I asked the doctor, can I still move around on stage and play music? He said, yeah, you still could do that because it actually exercises the heart. So the more active, that's good. But I am in that category where I could literally die suddenly. That's just and my other brother Heine has the same thing. He's at 25%, but we're troopers. We do whatever the Lord wants us to live. We'll be around.
Yeah, I know. My show is more of a sports show and everything, but God does exist. God lives.
Amen.
And we know that just from the kid that almost died in that game, DeMar Hamlin.
Oh my gosh!
There's a lot of lot of things about prayer and faith,
Amen.
and,
Amen.
and those people who think that there isn't a God, well, that that kid surviving, it
Yeah.
took the millions and millions of people,
Oh my
their
gosh.
prayers for him to come back alive. And I'm sure that with your faith and prayers and everything like that, with your family and everything,
Yeah.
you're here because God. You're here because God wants you to be here.
No.
You
Thank
still
you.
your
Yeah.
story is still here to be told, and yeah, it's when people talk about all the different issues in life, the most important issue is we can always depend on God for what we have.
Amen.
So, yeah, even though this is a sports show,
No, I
most of
understand.
it's on the 49ers, but
Hey,
we
hey,
got to give glory to God because if it
amen,
wasn't
man.
for Him, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have our talents. We wouldn't have the things that we have, our families, all of that. Wouldn't be here because without Him, without God and
Uh,
Jesus Christ. So, uh,
amen. I echo 100%, brother.
so in your so how many times during the week do you guys perform down there in Vegas?
We were doing it when we started in 2009. We were doing about 5 nights, and then we kind of, went down a little because we did other tours. So we're down to one night every Tuesday night. If you want to come down, as we're preparing for some tours in the summer, oh yeah, come down. And so we're doing it, every Tuesday nights. We did win the best family show award, which we're very humbled and thankful for that. So we're one of the few rare family shows on the strip. So yeah, if you happen to be there with your family, come on down. You won't see anything shocking or anything. You'll just get some good entertainment. And yeah, it's been quite a blessing for us to still do what we do. And then we also have these, and we announced these other shows that we do outside of Vegas. But it's kind of like our little anchor base, and it has been such a blessing to have a residency, continuous for the last 2 years. Other than when COVID hit, we had to take a little break, but then we came back in mid 2021, and we're still at it.
No,
So.
that's yeah, man, that's awesome. So do you guys do any tours outside of like say coming to St. George and doing
And yes, in fact, speaking of St. George, we're doing the Tuacon in November.
okay.
So I'll probably see you there and hook it up. But yeah, we'll be in the Tuacon. I think I don't know exactly. It's November 9th or something like that. I don't want to quote it, but if you go to our social media, the Jets Original Family Band, we'll announce it there and announce it. I'll even announce it on my LinkedIn. And so we got that. We've got a New Year's huge show in Arizona. That's where my wife is from. She's actually part Tongan and Balangi, and also we're working on some tours in California. Some fairs might be coming up, so stay tuned. So we definitely love doing our outside shows as well. So we keep it diverse and keep it going, man.
Yeah, we'll be doing that tailgate party in the Super Bowl when the San
Totally.
Francisco 49ers faces whoever
Yeah, that would be
this year,
fun,
right?
man. Yeah, let's do it.
So we have another question here
Yes.
from Polyworld. Do the Jets have any unreleased music that did not make the project? If so, will they ever be released?
Yeah, we actually do. We had a whole album that was recorded by Vasal Benford. He's the one that's behind that group Jade. They had a bunch of hits and a bunch of other artists. He actually recorded a full album in California in 1990. I think, yeah, 1990. And it never got released. I don't have any of the copies of it, but we seen some of the stuff that was from that album. We
Okay.
actually had, I don't know if you remember the Jets Best Of, but there was a song on there called Special Kind of Love. That was one of the singles that was supposed to be the lead out on that never released album. So I don't know if that answers your question. That is the album that was never released.
Well, now you can release it on TikTok, on Instagram,
Yeah.
on LinkedIn, on YouTube,
We just have to,
Twitter. You can
no, I
release it
got
all
you.
over the place.
Yeah, just he's got to get the permission from Mr. Visal Benford. He's a great producer. So
that's right.
yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of a hard thing, right? If you got stuff and though in those projects, like probably were good question. Those type of projects and stuff. How do you go about asking them for this? Do you have to go over there and see if they just release it to you guys, or
yeah.
is
It's
there?
just it's that my lawyer gets together with your lawyer, and you crank out the paperwork and and just kind of figure out what terms you'd like to do between the both parties. But the only reason why we wouldn't want to pursue it, because it's not worth. I mean, it was never released. I'm sure it's probably worth to fans, but yeah, I think you would just go out that way. We never looked into doing that, but that was just but now that it's brought up, maybe we will pursue it. I don't know. So
How
yeah,
about would you guys ever do any Tongan? Do you guys do any Tongan music songs on your um
yeah.
for your
Well,
programs?
there was actually another record that we did. There was a bunch of. It was literally a reggae record that we did. It was in 19. I think it was in 2000. Sorry, about 98, and that's another one that never got released. But there were more cover songs. Uh, and speaking of that, one of the demos that got us our record deal was a song. It was a reggae song written by Boy George, and it was actually recorded also by Musical Youth. It's a song called "Look No Strings," and
Oh
that
yeah.
was I don't know if you remember that. Was like the
Yep.
only reggae one that we ever recorded, and yeah, so I guess we still love our reggae roots and try
That's a
to.
classic song, by the way, and I still play that song.
Really? Oh
Yeah,
my God! Yeah.
that's a
Somehow
classic.
I don't know who put it down on YouTube or something, and it just kind of went viral, and everyone got their copies of the Jets' rare, "Look No Strings." Yeah, by Boy George. He wrote that.
No, I didn't know Boy George wrote
Yeah,
songs.
Culture Club. Yeah,
Yep.
it was really nice meeting him and all that stuff.
So what? So because this is a sports show, I'm gonna ask you a sport
Yeah,
question.
sure.
Concerning your Minnesota Vikings, where do you think you see them going this year? How far? How many wins and losses?
Man, what is the average? Is 16 games in the average?
I think we have 17 games
Yes,
now.
yeah, 17. Okay, after seeing that when they did that huge comeback, right? And I don't forgot which team they were playing. Was it the Cardinals or I forgot? Sorry, but anyway, if they could keep up that momentum, I think they could go. Shoot, I'm going to shoot for like a 9 wins. You know what I mean? At least probably more than that if they just get their act together. I mean, that they call it the Minnesota curse, right? They're always there. They always have made it to the Super Bowl, but can never get over the finish line, right? And when I started being a fan of it, which was back in 1983 when we moved to Minnesota, it was always just heartbreak after heartbreak. But I think, man, I hope they do better, for the 2023, season. And that's just I don't know much about the deep stuff, but
Yeah, we all want our teams to come out and win. So David Corona says it was the Colts that they came back.
That's right. The Colts, yeah.
Yeah, they came back
man.
on that. So
Right.
I see the San Francisco 49ers getting to the Super Bowl next year. I
can believe that. I mean, it looks like you guys got a strong management and players that are coming in. You got my Minnesota guy in there, so yeah, I can see that happening.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. It's gonna be a long season, long grueling season. So I just wanted to do this sports channel as a sports channel, but it kind of went right to San Francisco 49ers because that's who I know.
That's right.
And then I have the Sacramento Kings and the Warriors, but the Kings are my team. And then in the NBA, which one is your team?
NBA basketball, right? That would
Yep,
be,
basketball.
I always loved the Utah Jazz just because I still remember my Utah Jazz. But I was also what do you call it, Sixers fan. Every time the Lakers and the Sixers, I was always rooting for Sixers. I don't know why. It was just something we like Dr. J, man. You know, I'm a little old fart, old school, but
Yeah. So I know David Corona, he's a Lakers fan. There's a lot of 49ers that are Lakers fans. I like the Lakers back in the 80s
mhm.
before, but when I started playing basketball, it's because of Michael Jordan. I,
Yep.
I grew up playing rugby and all the other stuff that we grew up accustomed to as Islanders, but
Mhm.
basketball, what got me liking basketball was Michael Jordan, and so
Amen, man.
yeah, I liked the Bulls back then because of Michael Jordan. The Lakers, man, I like the Lakers, but I don't like the Lakers right now.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
I know
I-
there's a debate between the James and what's the other guy? I forgot. But no, I hear you.
yeah, it's just with LeBron James over there. It's kind of like, yeah, I don't like the. I like the Lakers, the old school Lakers. I like the
Mm.
Golden State Warriors, the team that they have with Nick Mullins and
Oh, yeah.
it was called Run DMC back then, or CN
Ah,
something like that.
yeah.
But
Were you a big what's his face? I forgot the young man that passed away in the helicopter. I forgot. Shoot,
Kobe Bryant.
yeah, Kobe. I'm sure you were a huge Kobe guy. Amazing. Yeah.
No, Kobe was amazing, but he was with him and Shaq over there because it was right in that heat of the Sacramento Kings with Chris Webber and
Ah,
those
yeah.
guys, and they were just battling. And of course, I'm rooting for the Sacramento Kings. Um, but I root for all the Western teams when they get to the
Sure.
finals. I don't care about the
Sa-
Eastern teams. So
Yeah.
so I really don't care about that. But and I'm more of I like the players, that
Right.
some players, whatever teams they go to. So, I'm a big fan of some players. Right now, I like the kid that they have in Sacramento, De'Aaron Fox.
Mm,
I think he should have went into a lot of. He should have went to a lot more All-Star games, but he didn't. He's got game. He's pretty
right.
good. Uh, let's see. The guy that I really like is Giannis
Ah,
over there in Milwaukee. That guy
what
he's
school?
something amazing.
Yeah, what school did he come out of?
No, he came from Africa
Africa. Oh my gosh.
by way of Turkey or one of the teams out
So
there.
he's got to be at least 8 foot tall. Or,
Well, he's 6'10", I think.
oh man,
But he's got.
those Africans can jump, right?
Well, he didn't even learn the game until he was like 16 or 17.
Are you serious?
It
And he's
was crazy.
NBA material. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's an all-star MVP.
All star. Oh
He's
dang.
got it all, and they won a championship with him. So
Hmm.
yeah, he's really good. I mean, that's crazy. Here's one thing that I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Rugby. The,
Yeah.
the rugby game is pretty crazy.
Yes.
We saw what the Philadelphia Eagles did in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
They just had a scrum, got a touchdown, got their first downs. It was just all a scrum.
Oh
Uh,
man. Yeah.
it just like going back to the old days. The rugby game is really popular. I love watching the rugby sevens. I like the league also.
Yeah.
And
Oh man. We love it too. Actually, my first cousin is my mom's younger sister's boys. Is the Kaufusi boys, the ones that play in Melbourne.
okay,
Tornadoes, I think. Yeah, those are all my first cousins, but I've never really met them. But they're big players in Australia, and just in terms of the rugby game, and stuff like that. But amazing. But
yeah, we see a whole change of
Mm.
players coming over from rugby, and they're playing in the National Football League, and they're doing really good because Jordan Mailata that plays for the Eagles, he's from Australia. He was a
oh,
rugby player that came over. The San Francisco 49ers punter, he was
are you serious?
yeah, he was a rugby guy. too.
So
I think he's from.
so you're saying that the learning curve is not too bad. I mean, it's pretty similar in a lot of ways, but that's
Yeah.
great. They can catch the American rules and pivot.
Well, they go.
Amazing.
So yeah. So our kicker Wisnowski, he actually went to the University of Utah.
Uh-huh.
And he learned how to play football. Jordan Mailata, he went to a camp where the international guys,
Oh wow.
and they have it in Florida. So he went over there, and then he got an agent,
Mm-hmm.
just like everybody. You got to get a good agent or
Right.
manager, and then bring him. They brought him along, and there he is playing left tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh my gosh.
The transition from rugby, it goes into the American football game. It's pretty simple.
I like
There,
that. Oh wow.
and there's arena football guys that are going into the world of rugby, like the USA Eagles player Perry Baker that plays for the Sevens for the Eagles. He
Oh
was an arena
man.
football guy, receiver,
Mm-hmm.
and there was another guy that was with him. I forget his name, but he's a smaller guy. But he was a running back and a track guy. And
Wow.
they took the Sevens by storm. Like,
Are you serious?
the last 10 years. Yeah, Perry Baker, two-time USA Sevens national or international player of the year twice.
Jeez.
He was the best player. And
yeah.
because
I would think those models are very similar because arena football and then you got the Sevens, which are, short term, right? It's more boom, boom, boom. It seems like.
yeah, Sevens is great and anybody that's playing in the NFL right now. If you want to do something in the off season, go play a little rugby.
Really? Just don't get hurt, man.
Well, Dan Bunce that played for the San Francisco 49ers, he was on a show with one of my guys, CJ, with Chris Gonzalez on Roofless Sports. He was on with him a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
And he said he was on the San Francisco 49ers championship teams 2 years. The 2 years where they won the Super Bowl twice in a year. And he's like, yeah, I told Bill Walsh, I'm playing rugby. He's like, when do you play rugby? It was right when the off season starts. I go over there and I start hitting people because the game is you carry the ball, you hit people, and I thought it was pretty cool that he actually said that. But a lot of guys that are like Trey Lance, he's looking for players right now that he wants to throw because he's cleared to throw the football today.
Right.
So, yeah, I think the rugby game and the football game, if people are looking for something to do after football, they can go to rugby. People in rugby that's looking to get into football and come from overseas,
right?
They have that avenue that they can do that now because we have some international players in the NFL right now.
Jeez,
which is pretty. I mean, years ago you couldn't do that. Like back in the 80s, the 70s, 80s, and 90s, that was unheard of.
No, but I love seeing the convergence of those two football types of games, kind of coming together in a weird way. That they can actually, even scout out, good rugby guys that could transition over to the NFL. I mean, it's wow.
It's pretty crazy. Okay, so we're coming. This I don't know how much longer you want to stay on, LeRoy, or you got stuff to do. But,
I'm just gonna. Well, it's just my power is like almost gonna die. Probably maybe I got. But no, you keep it until the thing goes out. Whatever you want to do. It's been a pleasure being with you, brother, and just talking. And
so just real quick. Actually, we just have another. Yeah, just tell everybody where they can find you.
Like I said, I am on social media. My LeRoy Kalanite Wolfgramm. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, the same name. You can follow the Jets 80s. It's called the Jets Original Family Band. That's our official site. And you can also follow my sisters. They are at Jets 80s, the 80s Jets. And so, yeah, follow all of us. You can message me. I always look at my messages, and however the heck I can help you, I'm more than happy to give back. And now that I know a little bit of what's going on and just help whatever.
Yeah, there you go. That's where you can find LeRoy. Pretty cool. He's plugging in also his sister's group.
Yep.
That part of the
Yeah,
group.
the '80s Jets, right? And
And
so
that's
there's two of us out there, yeah, doing our thing. Yeah.
well, that's just family for you,
Yeah.
right? We keep it
I'll
like
support
that.
each other. Yeah. Thank you.
Family and everything.
Yep.
So I went back and just and look at when you guys went to Tonga.
Yes.
What was that? 1987, something like
89.
that. 89.
Oh man,
Okay.
I'll never forget that. Yep. 89.
How was that going back to the island and performing in front of all the Tongan folks and everything?
It was a dream come true. It's funny because I think about maybe 8 years before that, my dad had a dream saying that we went and we got off a plane. Anyway, long story short, that dream literally came true the night we landed. Everything that happened, there was like, I don't know, 10-20,000 people at the airport waiting for us. The plane kind of came in late. They had like the band playing, and it was an honor. It was very humbling, but I'll never forget it. We played in the front of the palace for the king and queen, did a whole show to set up the whole thing. And it was in the afternoon, and I was able to, meet, the royalty and King Taufa and the queen. And it was an honor. I just never forget that. We decided, we're not going to go there to make money. We're going to go there and give back. And so we literally put up, it was like 6 stadium shows free for the people. And we just did that. It was an amazing. I think we were there for 2 weeks, and right after that, we went to New Zealand. But our trip to Tonga was just something I'll never forget. We'd like to come back there soon, and then see what's up. But no, that was really a blessing.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's a lot different now than back
Oh
then.
yeah,
Right?
that's what I hear.
Yeah. Well, LeRoy, so Lolani says thank you so much for all your
Yes.
music.
Thank you.
And
All glory to God. Yeah, thank you.
So we've been in this for over an hour now, LeRoy, and I appreciate your time coming in and just sharing with us your journey, the Jets, and just with Tongan folks and being on this show. It's been a pleasure having you, and hopefully everything, God willing, you'll be doing a show with us here in the near future.
Yep. Yes.
49ers.
Let's go. Do it. Yes.
So hang on there. Hang on real quick, LeRoy.
Yes.
So
no problem.
Everybody, thank you for tuning in and watching this show with LeRoy and I. Music and sports and tying everything together. God is the reason why we have everything that we have. Blessed to have LeRoy on with us. So we'll see you guys on the next stream.
All right.
Just hang on there.